Satnam, everybody. Let me get this out of the way. Here we go. Oh. Okay. Great. Let me just get this set up first. There we go. That one. I had all this set up before. Great. Okay. There we go. Just give me a second. Okay, this, let me get rid of this. I had all this set up. Okay, there we go. And let me get this at a full screen. There, perfect. Great. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay, Satnam Aloha, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. And be sure to put down your human design information if you know it, and your astrology information, and how you're doing. I've been totally in the water element for the last couple days. It's just been crazy. Water everywhere. Finally, we got some fire energy here. The sun's out. Really intense. So I can feel this Pisces. We got a total Pisces party going on. We've got the Saturn, Neptune, North Node, and Venus all in. And the Moon. Moon, Saturn, Venus, Neptune, and the North Node in Pisces today. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, that's great. So people, can you hear me okay? Clearly? Can you hear me clearly? Yeah? Let me know. And I will, well, let's tune in first with the Adi Mantra. So, Ong Namo Gurudev Namo, and I'm calling upon my own inner teacher within. This, if you're unfamiliar with this comes from the tradition of Kundalini Yoga and meditation, and it teaches that everything you need is already inside you. It's just about aligning yourself with this inner guru, right? And your guru, it's not a person, it's an energy that takes you out of the ru into the, out of the goo, out of the ru into the goo, or out of the goo into the ru. Anyway, out of the darkness of the ego into the light of awareness. So out of the goo. Okay, so bring your palms together and rub them. And bring your hands into prayer pose at your heart center. So you're taking some long, deep breaths through your nostrils. Just try it. So taking only long, deep breaths through your nostrils. Relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your neck muscles, relaxing your temples, and especially relax your belly as you bring more and more breath into the physical form. And just with your intention, you're going to bring all your energy into this present now moment. And then setting your intention to receive the information that you need today on your healing journey. Okay? So join in with me if you can. If not, just mentally vibrate and just receive. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Inhale to the base of the spine. Exhale. And inhale to tune in. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. And inhale deeply. Suspend the breath and press your palms together and bring your focus to your third eye, the point between your brows, and channel the energy up. And exhale and relax your hands down. Okay. I got some Got some Kundalini energy moving here. My glasses are getting foggy. Okay. So I wanted to talk about what's this about? What you already said, the karmic shift, right? With Pisces and the Virgo South Node, Pisces North Node. Well, this is human design, so it gets even more specific, right? So you can see that this is the mandala, right? And so I'm going to play these games today. Okay, so this is the mandala, the human design mandala. So every planet and node are moving around this mandala. So depending if it's going retrograde, right, the nodes move in reverse, and the rest of the planets move in this clockwise or counterclockwise direction. So you can see here, right, you've got North Node Pisces here, right? But then you've got all these numbers, if you're unfamiliar with human design. So it gets even more specific. And the nodes of the moon, right, I'll go back to Pluto here, but the nodes of the moon are really telling us what we're going to see, out in the collective, right? So this is like the next 5 months. So let's look at what let me see, I thought I put this up here. There we go. So there's the nodes there, right? The nodes. This is the stage. This is like the stage, right? That as a humanity, we're playing out our story, right? And our story right now is we're all going through a great awakening. And okay. There they are. My pens. The tech gremlins are playing with me here. Okay, so from January until December, right? We've been in the 25 North Node and the 46 South Node. We've been in that story. And what's that story been about? It's been about seeing through the appearances, right, of the Maya, not believing everything that you see, right? Being able to see through. And we've definitely seen that out in the collective. Well, now we're moving into a new movie. And this is January 30th until June 13th. We're in this North Node 36, South Node 6. And then this is the rest, right? So this is Pisces and Virgo, that karmic axis. So you can see, where's that 36? We've moved from 25. We still have the 25. Oh, well, this is an old. This is when I did this. Oh, let's go back here, so not to confuse you. Okay, so this is the chart as of today, like from 20 minutes ago, actually. Okay. Right? So there's the North Node there, the 36, and then the South Node, the 6. So it used to be, right, 46 and then 25. And both of them were this is the center of the self, love of the self, love and direction of self. And now it's moving into the solar plexus, 36 and 6. The North Node in the 36 and the South Node in the 6. And so right away, you see this center. And so you want to check out your natal chart too, right? And you can get your free chart if you don't know much about human design. Start there. Go to the information box. Go below. Get your free chart. And then you can follow along this channel. And there's lots of free information too on human design too. So it's really good for you to know during this time, right? So what you need to remember is that we're going through a huge evolutionary shift right now. Remember, we're moving out of the cross of planning that started in 1615. It ends in 2027. And then we're moving into a whole new cycle that goes from 2027 to 2438. So what you need to know is this emotional body, that's what this solar plexus represents in the chart, is going through a huge mutation, right? The 2027 mutation. the people that will be born after 2027 will already have this solar plexus mutation. Right? So this is mutating. Our emotional body is mutating. And what will happen is we'll come into called the spirit awareness. And this is experiencing life through the spirit. So instead of mental awareness system, it's like thinking and strategizing and focusing and planning, cross of planning, right? The cross of the sleeping phoenix, that's this. It's going to be new questions like, does this relationship have the right spirit for me? Does this person have the right spirit for me? Does this contribution, my work contribution, have the right spirit for me? Does this place of living have the right spirit for me? So it's going to be a whole new way of living, right? And it's going to affect everyone on the globe. And this is why we're seeing the breakdown of all these structures, right? Governments, little g's are collapsing all over the world because they're part of the cross of planning that has to collapse so that we can rebuild, right? So if we go back to the movie, so we're in the new movie. So the nodes in human design, we can approach the nodes, right, in 3 different ways actually. So the nodes in human design represent the movie that we're conditioned to see. This is what we're going to see out in the world as a collective, right? So right away, what are we going to see? We're going to see conflict, right? And we're going to see crises. We're going to see trauma. We're going to see suffering. We're going to see the dark night of the soul, right, of humanity. Because this is the gate of crises, the 36, the solar plexus. It's very emotional. We're moving into the emotional field now. And a lot of these gates are Piscean gates that I think I mentioned before, right? Look at all these. So this is what's going through a mutation. And look at a lot of them are Pisces. The 36, the 22, the 37, and the 55. And you notice that, right, the nodal axis is moving through all of these gates, right? So there's the 63. That's the only one that's up here on the crown chakra. And it's the gate of doubt. It's fear of doubts. 22 is dishonor. That's the next movie. And this is fear of silence. And then 37 is later in the year, and that's weakness. It's the fear of tradition. And then the 55 is victim, the fear of emptiness. And what we're going to be experiencing here, and the 6 is Virgo, right? So the 6 is fear of your emotions, That's the self node, right? And then the 36, this is fear of vulnerability. This is the shadow of turbulence. So it's an intense, right? Because the solar plexus represents the emotional wave. So it's like an intense emotional wave, this 36 that we'll talk about. So you can see we're in the definitely swimming in Pisces right now. You may need a little bit more sleep. That's what I noticed, a little bit more sleep, a little bit dreamy. Kind of, this is a good time to go into the higher octave of Pisces is spirituality and healing and compassion and forgiveness. So if we go back to this, we'll talk about the nodes, but I want to bring up, and this is a big deal, I may actually do a whole video on this one, is Pluto just moved into the 41st, right? On January 30th, yesterday. And it was funny, I was noodling around because I like to watch the pattern, right? I watch the pattern in terms of the transits. So I just kind of have it on in the background. And for some reason, I thought it was later than it was. And so I was there, and then boom, it popped up. It's like, oh, the Pluto just moved into it gave me an alert. Pluto just moved into the 41st gate, line 1, right? So I was there when it happened. So it's been there since yesterday, so you may be feeling a shift in energy just with this. And then later, like 6 hours later, then the nodes moved. Okay, so let's look at Pluto. So Pluto is important, right? So it takes 248 years for Pluto to go all the way around the mandala. And the 41st gate, that's the beginning. It's a start codon, it's called. It's the beginning of a whole new cycle. So right now we're in a whole new 248-year cycle of Pluto. And there's Pluto at the root chakra. This is the beginning of everything, right? So this is a big deal. This is a big deal. So we got a little sneak peek. If you go back, like reflect on, mid-April to the end of May of last year, what was going on for you, right? What was going on for you? Was something initiated, because that's the 41, was something initiated and then it lost steam and kind of dropped away, right? Things like that. Because after this, then we moved into the 60th, back to the 60th gate here until now, January 30th. To August 20th, it's going to be in the 41. So this is the beginning, right? It's the beginning. So something may have begun for you during that time, and then it just dropped away or fizzled out. Something happened, or there was an obstacle or resistance, because Pluto then moved into the 60, right? So it's there until August 20th of this year. So we're getting a good chunk, right, of experience of this Pluto. And then it's going to go back into the 60 from August 20th till December 6th. So not too long. And then December 6th is back in the 41st gate, and it's there until January 2029. So this is like, it's going to be in there for the solar plexus mutation in 2027. So what's the 41 about? Right? The 41 is about overcoming the inertia of humanity as a whole, right? With fearing following your story, your destiny. So you have to look at, you incarnate it with your own story, your destiny path. You've incarnated with this. It's already within you, but we have this inertia because remember, we live on a planet that's this shadow frequency, right? Rarely do we see people actually being themselves. Rarely do we see people expressing their genius, their uniqueness. It's very, very rare because we have this inertia that we have to move through, right? And it comes from this fear of following your story and your destiny, because as soon as you choose this, you walk alone. You walk alone, and there's a real fear of being alone, right? So you have to take that risk, and often you have to leave people behind. You have to leave the familiar behind. It's like the Fool in the tarot deck, right? With complete trust and faith and walking to the unknown. And the 36 has, these two are connected in terms of what they're about. So the fear is making your dream, whatever your dream and your story is, and maybe you've had it since childhood, before the conditioning really got to you. You've had this dream since childhood, but you kind of buried it away, right? So there's a fear of making this a reality, because there's the fear of humiliation if I really share what my dream and my story is, right? Because this is vulnerability that's coming from the soul. It's not vulnerability coming from the ego. Like, I want to be famous. I want everybody to notice me. I want people to praise me. I want that love I never got as a child. That's not this energy. This is like a vulnerability. It's like there's something like that terrifies you, but won't leave you, you know? It's like brings up so much fear in you. Brings up so much vulnerability in you, right? It just squashes that any bravado ego, right? And you're afraid to share it with people because you have to be vulnerable, right? So there's this humiliation, which is the opposite of humility. Humility is surrendering the ego to the soul. This is humiliation of the ego, right? It's like a different thing. It's like the deflated ego is humiliation. So you keep it as a fantasy. You keep it in your mind only, right? So to transmute this 41 is to know that you have a story, a destiny that you were born with, And it's always going to scare the bejesus out of you, right, to do your purpose. It's never something that like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that. It always comes with deep fear, your purpose, right? And I look at myself, and I was terrified of public speaking. That would terrify me. I would do anything but public speak. I hardly said anything. And this is part of my destiny, is to communicate. It's all over my chart too, communication, and to be myself, right? And those two things brought up a lot of fear. So you have to face them, right? You have to face the fears, and they really come with this ego that's trying to stop you from moving forward. So it's about surrender. It's like, I'm going to surrender to this destiny. I can't get rid of it. Whatever I try, right? Whenever I try to like squash it down or talk myself out of it, it's still there. It's still there. So this is about surrendering. So Pluto's there, like, what is it, 2025? So 4 years. 4 years we'll have this. Longer than 4 years, right? Right, we'll have this energy, or no, 4 years, to work on this 41. It's just going to be in the 41st gate this whole time. So this is going to really dig out what I see, because Pluto is about getting to the truth and transformation. It's going to get out what's fantasy, created by the ego, just to build itself up. What's that? And then what's your true dream? What's your real dream here? Right? So that will be interesting, but I'll refer back to this placement. Okay, so if we go back, so we've got this, I mentioned that, and then so let's go to the 36, and Venus is in there, of course, because there's a big Pisces party. So Venus and the North Node and Neptune are all together in this 36 right now. Okay, so there it is. It's coming off the solar plexus. So how this works, because it's open, do you see that? It's open. That means it's not defined, this transit. Now, say if we had the 59 was activated by, Jupiter or something, a planet that's takes a while to move through the numbers, then this would be colored in, and that would be colored in. But since it's open, it's dependent on a transit. So if the transit moved, that's going to go to the 19. Okay, just say like the planet joined you up. Say yours is all white, and maybe you just have the 55. But it's white, and you just have the 55. Well, if a transit came here, and maybe the 39 was activated by a planet, then that would hook you up, and then that you would be feeling this 36. Or, so it can work by transit, so you're going to feel that, emotional. Or if someone in your life has a whole channel, or they've got the 39 and you're with them, then you're going to feel this emotionality. So it can work like that. But chances are, somebody's going to hook you up, right? Unless you're living in a cave somewhere. But even then you'll be affected by transit. So transit, another person in your aura. So just keep that in mind. And if it's colored in, you're definitely going to feel it. You're going to feel this energy. So what does this solar plexus come with is nervousness. It comes with nervousness. So there's the solar plexus here. So it feels like a nervousness, this 36, okay, in the body. Like there's energy moving your body. You feel a little bit shaky. You just feel nervous, feeling nervous. Well, that's this shadow of turbulence, it's called. And no one is exempt. It doesn't matter if you have the 36 activated or not. We're all one, right? We're one human species. We're going to feel this nervousness on the planet. This is a global cycle, right? So no one's exempt. As long as you're a human, you're going to feel this nervousness. So the 36 is saying to look into the darkness, the unknown, and go anyway, and you're going to move forward anyway. Right? Because there's so much uncertainty on the planet right now, right? So there can be an inner emotional battle during this time, And this is a fear of overwhelm, of your emotions, There's going to be a lot of emotions moving around, right, in the next 4 or 5 months. Well, longer. I'm just talking about this particular nodal transit. So this is the dark night of the ego. It's really not the dark night of the soul. The soul's always illuminated. This is the dark night of the ego. So this is for humanity. This is when you come face to face with the ego, face to face. So I'm talking about individually now, right? Collectively, we're going to see a lot of conflict. We're going to see a lot of turbulence, right? The nervousness, emotionality, trauma, stuff coming up. It's not going to be pretty. So but for you as an individual, you're not going to get lost. You're not going to get lost into this movie, because if you go back to in human design, you always want to go back to your natal chart, right? So this is a global transit program. So yes, you're going to see this out in the world, but is it really your movie to watch? Well, if you have the 6 and the 36, then yes, it's your movie. You're going to see this in your lifetime, and that's correct for you. But if you have different nodes, then you have a different movie that you're here to watch, right? So, of course, and chances are, it depends if you've got Pisces, North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo, but then it even goes even focused, right? There's six gates to every zodiac sign. So you want to go to your movie. What movie am I supposed to be watching? This isn't my movie. Natally, I've got different numbers there. But I'm a projector, and I'm helping guide people. That's my job, right? Through these cycles, to be yourself, to be your authentic self. I keep my eye on what the global transit is, right? But I know that that's not my movie. I'm not going to grow. I'm not going to grow and evolve if I just focus on this the whole time, right? So, but natally, this is what this means for you. Like, your natal movie is what you need to see, and that helps you to grow and evolve. That's what you should be focusing on. Okay? So, where were we? So this here. Okay. So it's the shadow of turbulence, this one. And it's the darkening of the light, the 36, right? It's the gate of crises, and it's the gift of humanity, and it's the city of compassion. So shadow work, right? Shadow work to do this. So now I'm going into another way of approaching this. So the south node is what you leave behind, and the north node is what you embrace in astrology. So this is about letting go. The south node is like what we're here to let go of as a humanity, and what to embrace, right? So there's each gate, there's a shadow, a gift, and a city, right? So we're letting go of conflict. That's the shadow of the 6, is conflict right there. And then we're embracing this. We're embracing our humanity. We're embracing compassion. So we're transcending, but you can't spiritual leapfrog into like humanity and compassion. You have to go through the storm, and that's turbulence, and that's that nervousness in the body. So what does it mean? So it's a sign that you got some emotions that are moving in movement inside your body, and they need to be embraced and they need to be felt. So most of us were not taught to do this. We're taught to go out and get a pill. We're taught to go do something to stuff it down. We're taught to distract ourselves, right? That this is not a good thing. And all it's like a warning inside your system saying you've got some emotions you need to just feel, right? That's all. You got to just feel them. So they need to be embraced, accepted. Okay, why am I nervous? Because some emotions are moving around, and then you feel them, and they just want to move. They just want to move. And then it transmutes into this gift of humanity and compassion. And that's where you feel this peace, right? Peace within you. You're in the eye of the storm then. So you don't want to be running away from your emotional pain, right? And then here's some questions, right? Do you run from your emotional pain? Do you fear being vulnerable? Where are you avoiding turbulence or change? Because turbulence is about change. This comes from the channel of transitoriness, this 3635. This is about having new experiences. It's a pressure, right? This is a powerful force, the 41, to start everything off. It's a powerful force to evolve and change and have human experiences. And then that 41 goes to the 30, which is desire. It's the yearning for something new and changeable. So the 36 is also very sexual. It's very sexual. And so if you look at Kundalini energy, it depends on what chakra it gets expressed, right? It's primal, dormant energy, right? This Kundalini energy. And so if it's locked in the second chakra, or even the third, in the first, too, like the first, it could come across as lust, right? Like sexual lust. And we're not judging that low lust is really, really bad. It's just it's an expression of this energy. So this is like, has nothing to do with the person. It's like, I just want to merge, right? That's what sexual energy is. Like, I want to merge with life, right? So it's not necessarily about the persons. It's about, I want to have this experience, and you happen to be here, right? So keep that in mind. Could become very sexual, right? This turbulent energy. And the people with the 36 and the 35 know exactly what I mean. And it's like, there's no judgment. It's just like, I want to merge with life. It's like that primal energy. I want to merge. So back to this, the turbulence. Do you fear being vulnerable? Where are you avoiding change in your life? Do you tend to attract emotional crises? So this happens when you try to repress this energy. I'm repressing this sexual energy, because the 36 doesn't care if someone's married or not, right? The 36 does not care about that, right? So this is where our tribal consciousness is breaking down. Those contracts, even marriage contracts, are breaking down. So the 36 is like, no, I want to merge. I don't care. There's no morality to it, right? There's no morality to it. So so what you can do is like try to override this. Well, I can't do that, right? I'm a spiritual person. I can't do that. I'm just going to repress it. Well, what happens is that energy has nowhere to go. So what it does, it vibrates out from your aura, and then you attract in emotional crises, right? So this is just accepting the energy. It's like, I'm accepting this turbulent energy inside me. I'm nervous. I'm feeling a little bit lustful, feeling a little bit sexual, and it's just bringing it in and accepting it. Where you get into trouble is when you try to repress it and judge it and make it wrong. Does it mean you need to act on it? No. That's when you go to your strategy and authority. If you're an MGG, you'll go to your sacral. Yes or no? Yes or no? But the 36 wants you to grow and evolve, right? To move past. And this is how we learn, right? We learn through direct experiences. That's how we learn, not through the mental awareness system anymore and reading about things. It's through our direct experiences. So we're going to feel this pressure more and more of going out and having experiences. And if you're a third line or a sixth line profile, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're just driven to have experiences. And especially if you got this 36 natally. Okay, so you want to say, okay, so you know you're repressing your energy if you're attracting emotional crises to you because you're not being honest, right? This is where you get into trouble, is when you're not being honest, because it's connected to the 6, right? These are programming partners. Yeah, and this is fertility. The 59-6 is about fertility and bonding with others, and it's very sexual too, the 59 and the 6, the 59 in particular. So you want to ask yourself, what feelings do you judge the most as being bad or shameful during this nodal axis? And then the South Node is about letting go of this conflict, right? Communication breakdown. That's what the 6 is here. So we'll look at it in your astrology and then your human design type to see where that may play out for you during this time. So I'm not saying, like, okay, you need to be aware of your movie, like your natal movie, what you're here to see, and that's going to help you grow and evolve and do your higher purpose. But also, we're swimming in this global transit too, so just to be aware of it. And once you know this, then you start to see it more and more around you. Yeah. Okay, let me see if there's any questions, and then we'll start diving in here. Okay. Okay, let me see. Diane W., it's getting uncomfortable. Are you feeling that energy? Because you can't ignore your emotions, can you? You can't ignore them. But it's really about the game is to be your authentic self. Be your authentic self, whatever you're going through. Be honest and be in integrity and make your own decisions from inside. Don't give your power away. That's the game right now. Okay. Yay, Jasmine, welcome. Okay. Okay. So, let's start with the twin flames. So let me know if you're a twin flame. Here, let me get ready. So I really want to take my time doing the readings. I don't like rushing, and people have ADD. I hope you guys don't have. I have ADD, but I'm learning to be more patient, slowing down. So I want to do that for the readings too. So then we can go deeper. So let me know if you're on the twin flame journey here. And some people have found me just through looking for twin flames here. So this is the twin flames, and we're talking about this new movie, Twin Flames, according to human design here. Right? So the South Node and the North Node. And this is the 36 is what we're here to embrace, and this is the dark night of the ego. And that's what twin flame relationships are all about, right? It's about this ego has to dissolve. This ego has to dissolve. And that's the purpose of this connection, right? Purpose of this connection. So let's just do some cards here for the twin flames. And I'm really getting the information to really focus on the chaser. I wish we had new words for the chaser and the runner. Maybe I'll meditate more on that. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So maybe what I'll put up, twin flames, and I'm going to put up these questions while you're waiting for the cards. And so this is what to embrace, and we don't embrace humanity and compassion until we transmute the shadow of turbulence. So you can have a read that if you can. If you're on your phone, just magnify it. Okay, and we're going to start with the runner and the chaser. Let's do an ego card for the chaser first. What's the ego for the chaser? What's an ego for the chaser? What's an ego for the runner? The guidance for the runner. What's the guidance for the runner? Tell me the guidance for the runner. What's the outcome for the chaser? Okay. So this is definitely what, this nodal axis is really important for the twin flame connection, because we're moving, the north node is in Pisces, which is a water sign, right? And it's really difficult to avoid water in this movement. And when I was just preparing, like kind of just meditating this morning, after meditation, I was starting to feel this nervousness. And this is only the first day, right? We've got 4 months of this. So this is really aligned with the twin flame connection. Okay. So chasers got this. So remember, the chaser is the positive charge of the soul. And then the runner is the negative charge of the soul, right here. So this is what's keeping you from embracing your emotional pain and your emotional wounding. Because remember, the runner and chaser dynamic, it's to show you your deepest wounding. Yes, you're going to see the great things, like in terms of mirroring, you're mirroring one another. So you're going to see your greatest potential in the other. You can, right? It's potential, your greatest potential. But you're also more likely going to see this deepest wounding, right? So this goes for runner and chaser, right? So the runner doesn't like this too much, this deepest wounding, because they're not used to seeing their shadow, right? Pointed out. And the chaser can do that from love. It's coming from a place of love. So how the chaser's avoiding this, embracing the emotional pain, because the 36 is like a wormhole. It's like a wormhole where you're making a quantum leap in terms of your spiritual evolution. Remember, the twin flame is about this. It's about you evolving as a spiritual being. It's about the potential of you becoming an enlightened being, like 24/7, permanently enlightened being, right? Through this connection. So you've got distracted. So it says the chaser's been distracting themselves, escaping this pain, right? Escaping from boredom, depression, failure, nervousness, because this is nervousness. And so this is working very hard. And remember, one of the core wounds, the core wound that the both twins share, is self-worth, low self-worth, right? So this is a complete compensation for that. I'm going to stay busy. I'm going to prove myself that I'm successful according to my mind and my ego. And meanwhile, I'm avoiding this. And, watch the beginning of the video. What happens is you attract crises to you because you're not paying attention to your true work, which is to do, as a twin flame, is to do this, is to feel your emotional pain and this low self-worth, right? So, and then the guidance here is to move, right? So this is moving forward. It's having focus, it's having willpower, and it's moving towards, right? So twin flame, it's not about, well, it's the chariot. I just have to be moving in the external world. No, you're to move inward. You're to focus inward, not on the twin. You're to focus inward. And it takes a focus, it takes self-discipline, right? And determination to face your deepest wounding. That's the point of it. And if you're a chaser and you're kind of new to my channel, you're not going to like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's the truth, right? It's the truth. That this journey is about you becoming self-sovereign, right? It's about you becoming self-reliant. It's you becoming whole into yourself. So the more that you focus as the positive charge on the twin, like I have to fix them, right? I'm concerned about what's going on with them. I'm waiting, right? That's the opposite of the chariot. I'm waiting for them to heal. That's not a good use of your time, right? Not good. And it's not going to work. It's not going to bring the twin back. It's actually repelling. This is just like positive, negative charge, right? It's going to be pushing away your twin. So the real work for the chaser is to go inward and to face that pain. That's your real work. It's to become in union, not with the twin, but with you. It's about you. You're coming into union with yourself. You're bringing your masculine and your feminine energies together. You're balancing that. That's your work. Until you do this, that twin's just going to be up and down doing their thing. In my experience, and then my research and stuff, is the twin has no idea, right? That runner has no idea. They're not going through the same experience as the chaser. The chaser's going through the suffering and the pain and the anguish and the grief, and you know what I'm talking about, the ego death. The twin's just doing their thing. The other one, bopping around, loving Maya, loving the ego, right? They're not having the same experience as you, right? They're not. And that's why it's so crazy making for the chaser, because it's like, how can they not experience this? This is so intense. And they're completely oblivious to it, right? And then it's like, well, maybe this is all in my head and I'm just fabricating it. And it's like, no, it's real. But the runner has a different path. They don't feel the same as you, right? They're not going through the same experience as you. So that's the shocker for the chaser, because the chaser wants to know, right? I want to be validated. And as soon as the chaser goes, I want validation from the external, guess what? The twin will never, ever give it to you. The external world will never, ever give it to you. You've got to give it to yourself. This is about you having trust and faith in your own divinity, And then you come into union. Here's the cosmic joke as the chaser. You come into union and you're at peace. There's no turbulence in this energy, right? That turbulence, if you engage in the shadow, completely keep the twin away. But when you come into union and it's like, I'm going inward because I can't handle this suffering anymore and this obsessive thinking, that's the only way you can go. You're being forced. Right? That's why this journey is so intense, because the only place where you're going to find peace is inside you with your soul. And that's where the peace is. That's the eye of the storm. Right? And so then you're in peace and you're good. And then who shows up? The twin shows up. Because they can't help but not, because they're a puppet of the divine. They're a total puppet of the divine. Even though they have no idea what's going on. They don't understand what's going on. So you've got to cut them some slack there. They don't have the understanding that you have as the chaser. You're the one that's more spiritually evolved. You know what's going on, and that's all that matters, right? So as soon as you're in that union with yourself, they show up, and then it doesn't matter anymore if they're there or they're not there. It's like, oh, here you are, right? Don't be surprised. and just try it out, right? Try it out. Like, I'm really going to focus on myself. I'm going to really commit during this time period, this 4 or 5 month, right? Until June. When is it? Let's give you exact dates here. Whoops. Right? Till June 13th. June 13th. June 13th, twin, I'm going to like focus on just me. I'm going to face my deepest fears. That's the 36. This is the death of the ego, the 36. This is the darkening of the light. We're in it. We're being called to embrace this. And you already have a head start, right? As a chaser, you know what this suffering's about. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to sacrifice myself. I'm going to sacrifice my lower self to my higher self. Take me. Take this ego away. I'm done with this ego. I'm done with all the wounding that goes with this ego. I'm ready, right, to embrace it and face the fears and feel them, feel the wounding, feel the low self-worth, all of it, and let it go. And I'm going to be vigilant about keeping my focus off the twin, right? No more thinking, not even a thought. If you even have one thought of your twin, it's like, I got to surrender. I have to go into that surrender place. Right? So the twin's keeping you on your game, on your spiritual game, right? Because it's so intense, that ego will try to get in, right? That ego will try every way to get in. And as long as you're in the center of your being, surrender to your soul, then there's nothing, there won't be anything. There won't even be thoughts. There won't be yearnings. There won't be suffering or anything like that, right? So keep that in mind. And then this is the other card you got. So it's facing your deep fears, right? Facing the deep fears. And it's the moon ruled by Pisces. This is the unconscious fears that want to come up and be released. So this is a big opportunity for the chasers, right? And then the runner is, they're in some competition trip, right? So the runner's trying to compete. They're in the competitive ego, whatever they're doing, right? It doesn't matter. You don't even need to know what they're doing. But they're in their ego. That's all you need to know. They're in their ego and they're playing in the Maya and they're avoiding their spiritual journey. That's all you need to know. And as the chaser, it's about you, right? And this will just like, they're like in orbit. Like there's you're the planet, and they're orbiting around you. And sometimes they're way out from you, but as you go more inward, they come closer and closer and closer to their orbit, and then they can't help but be surrounded with you, because it's one soul, right? It's one energy. So what happens, the question that I asked is, what happens if you follow the guidance that I'm giving you right now? What happens to the runner? Well, the runner comes into the Six of Cups. This is reunion. This is the reunion card here. Six of Cups there. And 10 of Pentacles. And that's building something together, right? So that's what comes, right? That was my question, because I really want to focus on the chaser, because I doubt there's any runners that are watching this. I know that there's at least one, but they would never admit they were watching. Because that's just how they work. But let me know if you are. Okay? So let me see. Is there any comments about the twin? You just need to know that you're in charge as the chaser. Okay. Let me get my comments up. Yeah. Okay. Guinevere's, I'm really feeling this twin flip. Yeah, it's like no more playing. This is not about playing anymore with the twin flame. Do you want to be that 90-year-old that still has this story in your head about your twin? Right? I hear people saying 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. No, let's do the work now. Just do the work now. Yeah. Okay. And remember, it's about awakening. It's about awakening. Number one, it's about your awakening. So keep your focus on yourself, and it takes discipline, right? And meditation, daily meditation, I feel like a broken record, but that's going to keep you inside, right? Because you want to watch that mind and that ego, right? Because it's just going to lead you down a dead end road of suffering if you let that ego go. Okay. This is the juice. Yeah, be the emperor and the empress on your own throne, right? Bring your masculine and feminine energies together, and they can't help it. They'll be like driving in their car and suddenly they're driving to your house. They'd have no idea what's going on, right? This is how oblivious the runner is. Like, I'm really getting that information loud and clear, and they're not going to understand, right? It's not their job. It's not their job. Okay, to fully understand the spirit, the power of the spiritual connection and what it's about. All right. Okay. Okay. So where are we going next? Oh, astrology. Okay, let's go to astrology. And so we're going to start off with Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And we're talking about the nodes here. So watch the beginning if you have no idea what I'm talking about here. But the North Node, whoops. So the North Node's what you want to embrace. Let me get the questions up here. So the North Node's what you want to embrace, Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And the 6 is what you want to let go of. So what you're here to embrace until June 13th. And this is how you grow and evolve as a soul. Right? This is not about making your human life easier and better. This is about your soul's evolution, like why you're here on the planet. And that's this Pluto in the 41st gate. It just moved in there yesterday, and this is about your story. It's about your destiny path, right? It's time to start aligning yourself and walking it, right? So 36, this is the dark night of the soul. The 36 is to embrace this, facing that ego that's keeping you from doing your destiny, right? So Aries, let me just get my thing up here, is of course on the 12th house, right? So the 12th house, we got okay. So this is definitely what you want to embrace is the 12th house, and you're letting go of the 6th house. Okay, the 6th house. So as an Aries, maybe you've been obsessed with your health and your work as an Aries. And this is just going to create conflict. It's a conflict house anyway, the 6th house. It's going to create, if you focus on this, I'm avoiding the 12th house. I'm avoiding my spirituality, right? I'm avoiding solitude. I'm avoiding being by myself, right? I'm too focused on this. This is the ego. I'm too focused on this. It's going to create conflict for you. So you want to embrace the 12th house, right? And this is perfect. It's perfect for an ego death. So this is meditation, right? Embrace meditation, solitude, maybe go to a retreat. If you can actually go to a retreat in the next couple months. And to really face this turbulence, right? This is fear of vulnerability. Aries does not like feeling vulnerable, right? But this is the only way that you're going to transmute this shadow pattern and come into your humanity and compassion. So this is deep, right? Having the 36 in your 12th house. This is like past karma. It's clearing up a cycle, right? So you don't know what's in there because you're right. The 12th house, Aries, you don't know what's in there. I don't know what's in there. I can't see. It's like a house of mirrors. I don't know about this pain that you're talking about. Well, you just want to surrender, right? It's ruled by Pisces, Neptune anyway. You have that in your 12th house. And this is a good time too to let go of addictions like any coping mechanisms that you've used to repress this energy of turbulence, right, is to let go of addictions. There could be sexual addictions too to deal with here, but just like to full on, I'm going into the 12th house and I'm letting all of this go. And let the healing power of water, right? It's water element to heal you. Okay, so that's Aries. And then Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And then let's go for Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Okay, Taurus, we're talking about what you need to embrace. So watch the beginning of the video to learn more about like the movie and all that stuff. But what I'm telling you is the North Node in the 36th gate. This is the gate of crises. It's the dark night of the ego, or others call it the dark night of the soul, but it's really the dark night of the ego. And that's taking place in your 11th house, right? Yeah, 11th house. Okay. So what is this saying? And it's 11 and the 5. So this is saying to embrace the 11th house, which is time to really communicate your hopes and dreams. Your hopes and dreams. Right? It's time to get vulnerable about your hopes and dreams. And it's about coming into community, being with others, not in the 5th house, like I do everything myself in the 5th house, especially with work, my creative contributions. It's like to embrace more of this 11th house, like with the right people. This is your soul tribe. So to be with your soul tribe and to really go through any resistance, and the resistance would be this turbulence, and any wounding you have around community, right? To face that. And then this is embracing your humanity. This will transmute into embracing your humanity and having compassion for other people. So it's time for the bull to come out of the cave, right? And come into the 11th house of community. Or else you're going to have conflict in your 5th house, right? You'll have conflict in terms of your creativity, which means there's no flow, right? So it's embracing any emotional pain you have around groups of people, and being vulnerable in groups of people, things like that, okay? Okay, and this is also can affect your communication, right? 5th house. Communication. So having writer's block, right? Creative blocks, Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising, that can break down in the 5th house. And it's just showing you to go bop up here into the 36 with the 11th house. Yeah. Okay. So that's Taurus. And then Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. That is 12, 11, 10. So that's your 10th house of career. 10th house of career, and then 4th house, right? Okay, so this is Gemini. So Gemini, it's a big focus on just these next 18 months anyway. There's a big focus on your 10th house, and you're already feeling it. So this is your vocation, this is your career, this is how other people see you, right? Your reputation here. So this is about embracing any wounding that you have around this, like of being seen as your true self, like your authentic self, right? Not a fake self, not your not self, right? And some nervousness that can come up, right? Some nervousness that can come up, which just means that you have some emotions that you need to embrace. Maybe you've got some emotional pain around 10th house, could come from your past lives too. Feeling vulnerable, right? And what you need to leave behind is home, like too focused on, it could be your mother, it could be your home life. You're too focused on that. And the self-note is saying to let this go because it will create conflict in your home life and communication breakdown in your home life. Because the universe now is pushing you towards your 10th house. It's time to do, Gemini, it's time to do your career, right? Your reputation, to really step to come out, right, into the public eye. That's what this is saying. Okay, so that's Gemini. And then Cancer. So Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising is the 9th house. So North Node in the 9th house and South Node in the 3rd house, right? So this is about your higher purpose, Cancer. It's time to embrace your higher purpose here. And it can bring turbulence, nervousness, because maybe your higher purpose makes you a little bit nervous because you have to be vulnerable, right? And Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising are sensitive anyway, so it can bring up some vulnerability. So that all this means is that you need to feel some emotions that are coming up. Nobody's creating these emotions in you. They're already there, and you just need to embrace and feel them, not run away from your emotional pain. But it's around your higher purpose. It's around your belief system. Maybe you've got wounding around religion, right? It's also the father, right? Your father. There could be some wounding around your father that you have to address, right? And then leaving behind 3rd house, and that's your the way you think, the way you communicate is going to create conflict, right? So this is like whatever's coming out of your mouth. There's a fight, and there's an argument, and there's an argument. And all it's showing you is like, oh, I need to focus up here and on my higher purpose, right? Because this is just creating conflict within me and conflict in my thinking. So it's really leveling up. That's what I see for Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, leveling up into your higher purpose. Okay. And then Leo. And Leo's got the North Node, the 36, and the South Node in the 6. And this is into your, let's get these questions for Leo though. So the 36, this is in the 8th house. And if any house represents turbulence and the dark night of the soul, because that's the 36, the darkening of the light, it's going to be the 8th house, right? So this is the ego death house. And so this is embracing your deepest fears, right? It's embracing your deepest fears. And this is where all the fears and the phobias are held, are in that 8th house, right? And it's also a sexual, the 36 is a sexual gate, right? So that's also the sex and intimacy. So this is like a huge transformation through intimacy, and it's huge transformation. It's like, yeah, it's facing all those fears. It's the house of crises and trauma. Totally the 36. If there was a poster child for the 8th house, it would be the 36 here. And this is death of an old self. It's really embracing your power, right? So for Leos, it's really a time for you to be vulnerable and not run away from your emotional pain, because it's going to start to come up, right? And remember that if you feel nervous, it brings nervousness. It just means that there's emotions that are coming up that you need to embrace and feel. And what you need to let go of, South Node, is in the 6th, and that's the shadow of conflict, right? So this is 2nd house, and this is like an over-focus on your income and earnings and your material. It's the material house, all your material things. It's going to create conflict, right? For you, if you feel that, like the money's just not coming in, or I'm worried about money, right? That's a sign that you need to go to this, to the 8th house, go to the North Node, yeah. And it's about power. It's claiming your power back, right? And you'll come out of this turbulence. It's like a tunnel. Leo's going to go into the 8th house, ruled by Pluto, going to go into that tunnel and then come out more with their heart cracked open, because Leo rules the heart. So the heart's cracked open. You're feeling what it's like to be a human, because this is what brings us all together, is the heart. And Leo is the heart of the zodiac. And then compassion for others. So this is going to be an intense time for Leo, but as long as you surrender, just surrender yourself. You're surrendering your lower self, your ego, to your divinity, right? And it's like, okay, I'm surrendering to the divine, and I'm going to go through this process. I'm not afraid of my emotional pain. I'm not afraid of being vulnerable. Yeah. So this is karmic wounds too, coming up in the 8th house. Things that you were born in, you just inherited when you were born from your ancestry, that 8th house stuff. So very transformational time for Leo. Okay. And then we got the Virgos. We got the Virgo sun, moon, or rising. So Virgo, we're talking about the nodes moving. In human design, they've moved into these new numbers, right? So the South node is in the 6. That's coming after the solar plexus. That's your emotions. And then the North node's in the 36. So you want to leave behind the 6 and then embrace the 36. And that is, of course, your 7th house of partnerships. So other people, right? So with this, there's turbulence. There can be crises, like a crisis that your partner is going to be going through. Your partner is going to be going through crises, right? And how are you going to handle this, my partner? Because, you know, Virgo likes to fix other people, right? So are you going to run in and try to fix, creating more turbulence, right? Instead of going within and staying in your peace, right? Because sometimes that's the best thing we can do to help heal others. Not that we're healing anybody, but we're, because there's healing energy, is to go within and then be in the eye of the storm and in your peace. And that actually helps your partner, right? It's kind of like I'm holding a space. I don't even want to say that because that's egoic. I'm in this space of healing. I'm holding this vision that my partner can heal, right? My partner can move through this emotional crisis, whatever it is, whatever crises they attract to them, that I'm holding the vision that healing is taking place, right? So that's what I would say there. Just because it's in the 7th house, you may see a lot of people in your life going through a crisis, and you can't fix everybody, right? You can't save everybody. And, right, the gift here is compassion. So feel the turbulence inside you, right? What turbulence does it brings nervousness up inside me, right? So explore that and then feel, and just feel it. And let your partner do their own work. That's what I see there. Okay, so that's Virgo. And then Libra, sun, moon, or rising is in your 6th house. Okay. So Libra, sun, moon, or rising, the Pisces or the North node is in the 36, and that falls into your 6th house. And then the 6, too many 6s here. The 6 is in your 12th house, is to let go, right? So you're going to be working with this 6th house anyway, right, for 18 months because the nodes are in there. What was I going to say? Let me just get my thoughts here together. Okay. I need water, that's what I need. So this is your work, right? This is your work and your health. So you may be going through some kind of crises around your health, Libra, around your health. And what you're leaving behind is the 12th house. So there could be like, you know, an addiction to like hiding here. The 12th house is like the hiding. It's about escapism. It's about escapism. And this is going to create conflict. Some kind of conflict will come to you because you're hiding. You're hiding from this. So this is about being vulnerable, right? It's being vulnerable in 6th house matters. So it could be your health, your work, right? It can bring up emotional pain, feelings of being not wanting to be vulnerable, right? Around your health, right? Some kind of health crises. What I would say is for the Libras is to I know. This, because the 6th house is also solutions. So there's a solution here. But it comes from feeling these emotions that are going to come up for you. Maybe a health scare or something like that here. Bring up some emotions, some nervousness. But no, just because it's in the 6th house, there's a solution. So you need to remember that this is a spiritual law. Wherever there's a problem, it comes with a solution. They hold hands. Question and answer, they hold hands. Problem and solution, hold hands. So this is about you trusting, and it's really about opening up your heart, Libra. Open up your heart and trusting and have faith that there's a solution, and that whatever experience, right? Because this is about going into a whole new experience. Whatever experience is, like ultimately is to open up your heart and prepare you for this new cross of the sleeping phoenix. Right? So this is the heart opening, and then the humanity and the compassion are the gifts that come up. So you want to ask yourself, do you judge? What feelings do you judge? What feelings are shameful to you, right? And do you attract emotional crises to you? You want to ask questions like that. And you don't want to repress your energy. You don't want to repress your energy. And you want to let go of hiding in the 12th house. Hiding and avoiding, right? Avoiding these feelings they're pulling you. This is a strong energy here. This 36 is a strong energy, and it's pulling you towards your growth and evolution. Okay, so that's Libra. And then Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising. We're talking about the nodes. So if you want to learn more about the movie, just watch the beginning of the video. But we're talking in terms of human design until June 13th. We're in this lesson, this karmic lesson. So the south node is what you're releasing, and the north node is what you're embracing. And so the Scorpio, the north node is in your 5th house. It's in your 5th house. And then the south node is in your 11th house. Right? So what this is saying, the south node is what you're here to let go of, and this is your friends. The group of friends, your community that you're hanging out with are not for you. I've been really getting that strong message for the Scorpios that they're around the wrong people, right? So the 11th house will bring this is powerful energy, will bring conflict between you and this group of friends that you're in, because you're ready for an upgrade. Scorpio is constantly upgrading themselves, and that means they've got to let go of this group of friends and community that they're in. They need to let go of their hopes and their dreams that they've had. This is a past life and hope and dream. It's like, I've always wanted this. Well, the south node here is like, is it true or not? Right? It's going to create conflict. So it's about a deep letting go in the 11th house of community, friends, and these old hopes and dreams that aren't aligned with your authentic self. they may be rooted in ego, and they're not really rooted in your soul. It's about pumping up this ego, right, to compensate for, low self-worth or low self-esteem or whatever. So you want to let go of that, Scorpios, and you want to embrace the fifth house, right? So this is where, it's like, oh my God, I'm having all this conflict with my friends and my community, and they're always in some kind of crises, right? That's a sign that you're not doing your work, which is to go into the fifth house. And the fifth house is you. It's your self-love, right? It's your creativity. It's your creativity. It's being alone in your creativity, right? The fifth house is you on your own. It's ruled by Leo, right? You on your own. I've got the first gate myself, right? I've got the first gate myself, and it's aloneness. That's the keynote, creativity and aloneness, right? So that's what it's showing you to do, is to go and to find out what you enjoy, right? What makes you tick? What's your creative expression, right? This is about your inner child, too, doing the inner child work, getting to know you again out of the conditioning field of the 11th house of your community. Remember, Scorpio, this time is about being your authentic self, period. That's your work, is to be your authentic self. And you can't know your authentic self until you spend some time alone, right, by yourself. So getting to know yourself again. This is like the fifth house, is you're learning what love is. What is love? What is it really, love? Is love tribal? You do this for me, I do that for you. It's all conditional, right? This is what you're learning with the fifth house. So this is about embracing your divine child. Your divine child. So it's bringing the focus back to you, right? In romance, again, like looking at like what do I need, right? Romance is being emotionally connected to something. That's what romance means. And how that manifests, that's individual. Some people want the chocolate and the flowers. Some people want their kitchen cleaned. Do you know what I mean? Like, it depends on what you consider romance. What's romance to you? And it's an emotional connection, Scorpio, right? So not settling, but this means that you've got to go into the fifth house and spend some time on your alone, and the community's not going to work for you anymore. So if you start to feel that conflict, like you're in conflict, other people are in conflict. And so this is where you embrace your wounding, right? Turbulence. So it could be some inner child wounding about expressing yourself, of you being an artist, whatever it is, right? That wound. And you feel this. And then this is about a heart opening, right? So this is until June 13th, we're in this energy. Okay. So that's awesome for you. And it may bring up some fears of being alone, right? But that's your work. It's just to feel that. And really, you'll come out a different person with this fifth house. Yeah. And needing emotional connection, and you're not getting it in the 11th house. Okay, so that's Scorpio. And then let's look for Sagittarius here. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And that, of course, is in your 4th house. I know some Sages. Okay, so the Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising in the 4th house, right? So that's the 36 in the 4th house, North Node, to embrace and then to let go of 10th house. Right? Until June 13th, we're in this these karmic lessons. So this is letting go of too much focus on your career, right? This is South Node, so conflict. If you're experiencing conflict in your career, too focused on your reputation, too focused on being out in the world, right? So letting that go, because it's just going to bring conflict. Right? And embracing your 4th house. And that's home, right? That's home, embracing mother dynamics, any dynamics that you have with your mother, some wounding. Maybe you've got to address around your mother. Maybe your mother brings up this turbulence. That's that nervousness, which is means that some emotions need to be embraced and felt. Right? So this is the 36. This is the dark night of the soul. So this is ego around mother wound. That's what I see here. You got some mother wounds here. So remember that it could possibly be reversed too. So it depends on, because sometimes the gender flips. Your father is more like your mother in terms of energy, and your mother's more like your father in terms of energy. So don't get hung up. The one who is the nurturer in your family, there's wounding around that. What else? It's about learning to take care of yourself, to nurture yourself. Right? It's about comforting yourself too. But I would look to your mother, because your mother's going to bring up this shadow pattern for sure. Right? So you want to let go of the over-focus on career and then really go towards your mother. Okay. Or some kind of mother figure in your life, but the big kahuna is always your earthly mother. And then Capricorn is in the third house. Okay, so Capricorn, the north node is in your third house, and the south node is in your ninth house. So south node is what you're letting go of, and that's conflict. So you may have conflict with your father, because the ninth house can represent your father. Can be conflict around your religious belief or your beliefs in general, right? There can be conflict there. What is this showing you? That you need to go to the third house, right? And that's where the turbulence is. The shadow of turbulence, the gifts of humanity and compassion. So this is your community, right? This is your siblings. Maybe you've got stuff that you've got to deal with your brother or sister, or both, this turbulence. And it could be your thinking, the way you think and communicate could create turbulence, right? The nervousness. This is just showing you that you've got some emotions that you have to accept, embrace, and then feel them and not run away from your emotional pain. There could be, pain around your communication style, right? The way that you've been communicating, maybe it's not well received. But certainly don't go into this, I'm going to argue with everybody, right, about ninth house things, my beliefs. Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking of one more thing. Yeah. Just your social, right? The social stuff. Right? So it's about learning to have more compassion. That's what I see in terms of the way that you communicate. But I would go to siblings, neighbors, things like that, because it's relationship based, right? This 36 and 6. Okay. And then we've got Aquarius. Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising. And we're talking about the nodes. And that's the second house, right? Yeah. So Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising, we're talking about embracing the north node, the karmic lessons right now, letting go of the south node. And so the north node's in your second house, 36. And your eighth house is what you're letting go of. Okay? So this is if you're too focused on your marriage partner, or someone that you share resources with, could be a landlord too, but it's most likely going to be your marriage partner. There can be a lot of conflict here. Is to let this go and focus more on your second house, which is your own sense of self-value. So don't be looking to your marriage partner to have yourself validated in terms of your self-value and self-worth. It's to focus on your income. It's to focus on your own self-reliance, Aquarius, That's what I would see here. And there's gonna be turbulence. You're gonna be met with fears, right? Especially when you face this wounding around self-value. That's the second house. But it's gonna open up your heart, right? Crack your heart open. And so remember that nervousness, any nervousness that you feel, it just means that emotions are moving and they need to be embraced and felt. So you don't want to be running away from your emotional pain. So letting go of that 8th house, right, and other people, and expecting other people to take care of you or your marriage partner to take care of you, and come more into self-value, taking care of yourself. That's the second house. And there can be wounding around that to take care of yourself. Okay. And then Pisces. Pisces, the star of the show. And of course, it's in your first house. So North Node is in your first house. What does that mean? You're going to be the embodiment of turbulence, humanity, and compassion. You're going to really see it, feel it in your body. So the first house is how you show up in your life. It's your approach to your identity. So there can be some real fears of being vulnerable, right? You may face some fears of being vulnerable here. And not being, which is funny because you think of Pisces as being, Pisces, sun, moon, or rising as being very open and vulnerable, but that's not always the case, not from the Pisces that I've met. They're sensitive, but they don't always show it. So this is like true vulnerability, like allowing yourself to be seen. Because they compensate, right? And then what are you letting go of is the 7th house, and that's your partners, right? So not focusing on your partners here, because there's going to be conflict. This is like your main partners in life. There'll be conflict there in terms of communication, because you have to bring your focus back to you, right? And to really open up and becoming vulnerable with yourself first, feeling your emotions, embracing them, feeling them, and not depending on your partner to take care of you with this. What else? It's taking off the mask, right? It's taking off this fake mask that you've been wearing, Pisces. And allowing yourself to be reinvented. I mean, the Pisces party's in your first house, so you're really getting impacted by this energy. So just taking away the mask, just like go into Pisces, your Pisces mode, which is just like, I'm just going to go in the flow. I'm going to let this healing, right? This healing bomb just take over and do its magic, right? I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go of this turbulence. And it's just like, let it move through you. Let that energy move through you. Emotions, it's the water element, right? Let it move through you. Energy and motion, emotions. Okay. 1717. And there's Pisces. Let me see if there's anything here. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're going to go to the human design types. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Guinevere mentioned something interesting that I just thought of. So this is the gate of crises, the 36, right? What does crises lead to? It leads to Christ consciousness. And that's what's returning. And what is Christ consciousness? It's not a person. It's not, Jesus coming down off a cloud. It's Christ consciousness is moving through each and every person that opens up their heart, right? That's the sacred heart. That's Christ consciousness coming through. And that's directly connected to the 36. Yeah. Okay. Right on, Jordan. Welcome. Okay. So what are we doing now? We're doing human design. And we're going to start off with the generators. Let me see if I can see. Yeah, generators. Okay. Okay, we're going to start off with the generators, and I'm going to pick a few cards. So generators, we're talking about the nodal shift. The north node's in the 36 and the south node's in the 6. And what you're here to embrace and what you're here to let go of. And this is until June 13th. So you can read those questions while I'm getting you a card. Let's see what the generators. What do we got for the generators? Okay. What do the generators need to know? Tell me what the generators need to know. 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 Okay. And then what's the guidance? What's the guidance for the generators? What's the guidance for the generators? What's the generators? Okay. So the generators got the gaslight yourself, okay? So this 36 is about the dark night of the ego, right? That you're here, we're all here to embrace. So this is about, it's going to be a very emotional time with this nodal shift right here. So watch the beginning to learn more about like what the movie is. But I'm talking about how you can use this energy to evolve. So we're letting go of the 6 and embracing the 36. So check out your astrology information, and then if you're a twin flame generator too. Okay, so the 36 is about being vulnerable. It's about embracing your emotions. This is a strong wave, right? The emotional wave is very, very strong, this 36. So that's why it's called turbulence. And what the turbulence is nervousness. It's like feeling this nervousness in the body, right? And we all feel it because we know that we're entering the unknown. Now, Pluto just moved into the 41, right down here. Pluto just moved into the 41. This is the beginning of a 248-year cycle, right? So we know that we're moving into the unknown. It's very uncertain right now, so it can bring up turbulence for the whole collective. And we're all connected, so we're going to feel this nervousness. So the nervousness is just shaking up that solar plexus. Remember, it's going through a mutation for 2027. And it's just showing you that you got some emotions, you got some work to do, right? So it's time to just accept it and feel it. And then you got the gaslight yourself. So you got your crazy mind interfering, right? Interference means interfere. Interfere I go. That's what interference means. And that's the mind coming in and gaslighting yourself. Those feelings aren't real, right? I shouldn't be feeling this. I'm feeling someone else's emotions. These aren't mine, right? It's not that bad, right? It's lying to yourself. It's completely dishonoring your feelings. So this is the ego. It's not you. This is the not self, right? The not self. And the not self wants you to avoid doing this work, because look what the gifts are here. You've got humanity, that means your heart's cracked open, and you have compassion for yourself and others, right? And the 36 is a powerful gift, because it's when you come through this storm, people can tell, in India, there'd be, people would commit to their family, their householder experience. They would get married and have kids, and right. And then when they were done with that, then they would leave their family and they go up the mountain, right? They go up the mountain to meditate and do their spiritual work. And then they would come down from the mountain, and people would say to them when they came into the village, "Oh, you look like you've been up the mountain," right? And it's because they could see it in the eyes of that person. So, of course, we can't do that anymore. We live in the modern world. But your eyes show. You can tell when you look into someone's eyes what they've been through. If they've been through the ringer, if they've been through the school of hard knocks in their life, it shows through in their eyes. And that's what comes through when you go through this storm, right? Of humanity to compassion. You can't fake this. You cannot fake this. And remember the cross of the sleeping phoenix, it's all about direct experience. Direct experience. So people can feel it, they'll see it in your aura, they'll see it in your eyes, they'll feel this calmness in you, generator, and they'll know that you understand my suffering. Right? This is like a great gate of suffering. And we all have to go through suffering, because it's how suffering is about opening up your heart. Right? That's the only way that the heart will open, is through this suffering. So there's a gift in this suffering. It's not about being a masochist. It's just about, here's my karmic work to do, right? And I know that it's serving a greater purpose. And we all know this, that have been through heartbreaking times. Makes you a better human, doesn't it? When your heart's open, you have more compassion for people, because you know what it's like, right? You can have sympathy for someone. Not feel sorry for them, but have sympathy for what they're going through. So this is a time for the generators to start honoring their feelings. And I know human design, you can get lost in that head, in the mental story and response and all the I'm this, I'm that, right? And you've got to remember that to not get caught in the mental story. You've got to be in your body, right? We have to be in our body. We have to be here in the present now moment, living our life, right? This information is just, one day we'll let it all go. We'll let go that we're a generator. We'll let go that I have this gate activated and I have this channel and this channel. This is just to guide you to yourself, and then you let it go, and then you let it go, and then you're just living as your authentic self. Okay, so this is about embracing your feelings. And then the guidance is let this go. More mind, right? There's the nine of swords. I'm up at 3 a.m. worrying, right? Fretting, I'm in anxiety, I'm in fear. I'm having nightmares, I feel isolated. So this is like I need to release anxiety. And how do you release anxiety? You don't give all your authority over to your mind. You're not listening to your mind. You're meditating, right? If you're getting up between 3 and 5 a.m., that's definitely your soul is calling you. Like, get out of bed, come here, get on your sheepskin, get on your mat. It's time for you to listen to me, the divine, your divine self. Stop listening to your crazy ego, right? And that's a good way to release anxiety and embrace peace here, because you're letting go of this that fits with this, your conflict. And the conflict is between you, your authentic self, and your not self. Who's going to win? Who's going to win, generator? Who's going to win in this lifetime? Is your not self going to win again and again and again? Or is it going to be your authentic self that works, right? That wins this time. And that's where you want to be. And you have an opportunity here with the North Node in the 36. This is ego death, the 36, the darkening of the light. To let that go. Not self is ego, right? This is your ego, the part of your mind, the voice, the identity, the voice in your head, the not self, right? To let that go, because this is what's causing all the suffering here. Okay? So that's what I see. It's just about honoring your feelings, honoring your emotions, not get afraid to be vulnerable, Yeah. And watch yourself. Is you're not self-judging. These feelings are good, those feelings aren't good. This is shameful, this isn't, right? It's just like you're walking into the storm here with the 36. Okay. So that's generator. Okay. Generators. And let's go for the... Okay. Time is doing such a weird thing for me. It's like I just got on here and it's like 2 hours are gone. Okay. So there's the MG, manifesting generators. So we're talking about the nodal axis MGs. So be sure to check out your astro, your astrology, sun, moon, or rising. And then if you're a twin flame, check that out too. So the north node is in the 36 and the 6. So if you're concerned, like, what's this movie thing you're talking about? Well, you got to go back to the beginning of the video and watch it. So this is about how you can use this energy to evolve. So we have this nodal karmic lessons basically until June 13th of this year. Okay. So self node, letting go of self node, which is the 6 right there, the solar plexus. Embracing the 36, and look where they are, right? We've moved from the self, the G center with the 25 and the 46, and now we're moved to the solar plexus right here. So, so this is letting go of conflict, right? The shadow of conflict, and then embracing this dark night of the ego, 36, the darkening of the light, the gate of crises. And remember, crises leads to Christ consciousness. This is about opening up your heart, having compassion for yourself and others. And so it's embracing the shadow. You can't leapfrog into humanity and compassion without going through the turbulence. And we all feel this turbulence. This is the turbulence that comes when we're facing the unknown as a collective, right, of humanity. So it feels like nervousness. And that's a sign that you just have some emotional work to do. So read these questions, and I'll pick a card for you. Pull a card for you. Okay. So what do we got for the MGs? What's the biggest ego block for the manifesting generators? Oh. And what's the guidance for the MGs? What's the guidance for the MG? Okay. No surprise here for the MGs. We got the anger card, also known as frustration. Manifesting generator. Remember, they're hybrid of the manifestor and the generator. And then the guidance, you got the Emperor card and the 6 of Cups right here. Okay. So this fits with the conflict, doesn't it? Letting go of the conflict, letting go of conflict, embracing this right there, right? Embracing your work. This is your inner work. This is your solar plexus work here. And that's to feel the emotions, because this is going through a huge mutation. Remember, the solar flares are activating this solar plexus. This is the release of a lot of stuck emotions, right? So the turbulence. So this can be bringing up anger, right, in you. And so in terms of the ego, this represents a conflict, like not letting go of this conflict. So MGs, this is a conflict in your mind, right? And right away, I would say stop listening to your mind. The generators and the manifesting generators have the most conditioned mind out of all the types. We're all talked about this, right? And so you need to, maybe you're afraid, maybe you fear your anger, right? Maybe you fear your anger. Maybe that turbulence is getting more expressed as anger for you, right? And so it can be a shock for people when these emotions start releasing, because it's like, where did this come from? And then the mind wants to come in and create a story about it, right? Oh, well, it's that person. They're making me angry, or the situation's making me angry. But nothing's making you angry. The anger is just releasing, right? It's finally releasing. So you want to welcome this, because you start releasing this anger, right? Underneath it is going to be fear and grief. That's how it works. So you're feeling the fear and then the grief, and then your heart shatters open. The heart opens. And then you have this gift of humanity and compassion. So there's many ways to go with anger, but anger can also be a mask. It's masking like a not self, because really, the 36 is it's an ego death gate. The 36, this is the dark night of the soul, or the dark night of the ego. When you come face to face with this ego, you come face to face to this not self that was created in childhood. It was created in childhood because it was trying to get its needs met, right? And so what happens is this not self continues on to adulthood. But except now, because we're in the age of truth, where anything not authentic isn't going to last. It's not real. And this not self is not real. It can create anger, right? In the ego, because underneath that mask is like, I didn't get that unconditional love that I wanted as a child, and now the anger is finally releasing from this not self, right? Because the not self is getting out of the way, and then this anger can start to release, right? And trying to live up, like all that stuff, that wounding, turbulence, all that wounding can come up. Like I really tried, and I did this and I did that for this person, and they still weren't happy. They weren't pleased. They never gave me that love that I wanted as a child, right? So remember to not just stay in anger. You got to go right to the bottom, and that's what turbulence will tell you, is that there's deeper emotions for you to feel. But the gifts are like great. They're amazing gifts. You want to have this humanity. You want to be authentic, MG, right? You want to be real. And so this brings humanity and compassion. And that's this. So the guidance there, this is childhood. This is totally a childhood message. 6 of Cups, right? So this is about you going back to your past, allowing this to really don't go into the shallow end, go into the deep end with turbulence. Don't be afraid of getting overwhelmed by your emotions. That's the fear, right, of the 36. So there, right? So this is going back to your inner child work. And then the Emperor, right? And the Emperor is, I'm going to be the adult here, right? I'm going to be the adult here. And that's the only way that you can do inner child work. You can't do inner child work from the inner child, because we can have different like, okay, I've got one inner child that's 5 years old, and I got another inner child that's 9 years old, or an inner teen. You can't do it that way. You have to be the adult, right? And the adult is calling upon your own higher self, right? Your own higher self, your higher being. And this is discipline, it's focused, it's getting out of the child self and going, what do I need to release this anger and this grief, right? And that's what the Emperor would do. Okay, I need to meditate, I need to take a program, I need to do a 40-day meditation. I've got a great meditation for releasing childhood anger. And you know what I'll do is I'll post it on the bottom in the information box. It's free. It's on my website. I'll send you the link to that. And then the Emperor is like, we get up every morning for 40 days and we do this meditation to release this anger. Because I want my heart, right? I want to be connected to my heart. This is where all my power is in my heart. It's not in my head, in my intellect. That's not where your power is. It's in your heart, right? And this is about leading yourself, right? The Emperor. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, MGs. That's what I got for you. And let's do, I wonder why that's up. Let's do projectors. The projectors. Projector. Okay, projectors, we're talking about the self node, leaving the self node behind, which is the 6, embracing the 36. And this is until June 13th. So check out your astrology, too. I'm going to timestamp it when I'm done. And if you're a twin flame, okay? So read these questions, and I'm going to pick some cards for the projectors. Okay. And we're going to go straight to, what's the projector need to know? 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 What the projector needs to know. Okay, and what's the guidance? What's the guidance for the projector? What the guidance is for the projector? Tell me what the guidance is for the projector, please. Tell me what the guidance is for the projector. Okay. Go. Okay. So I got, for the projectors, I got the control card. That's interesting. That's the card we got for the online retreat for this week. And then I don't understand card. So the ego. So what you're doing, projectors, is you're really going to embrace this time, to embrace this darkening of the light. This is an ego death, potential for an ego death for humanity, but we're focusing on you to use this energy. So turbulence. So not running away from this nervousness that you can feel inside you, not running away from your emotional pain, not being fearful of being overwhelmed by your emotions, not fearing being vulnerable. And so let's look what the ego tells you. Well, this is control, right? The ego wants to control. So right away, we'll look at, like, I feel this nervousness and somebody happens to be around me, right? There's a person that's around me, and the ego, what does the ego want? It wants you distracted and looking outside of yourself. They're the reason why I feel this nervousness. They're the reasons why I feel this turbulence inside me, right? And it's trying to control the other person, right? Trying to control the other person so that you don't feel this. But what you need to know is that you feel this anyway. Even if that person were there or they weren't there, or you were on a desert island, you would still feel this turbulence, right? So the turbulence, it just means that emotions are in motion and they need to be embraced and felt. And this is the ego death, right? The ego death, because there's identity that comes with these emotions, and that's the not self, right? The not self has to go. So not trying to control, so controlling other people or controlling yourself, right? Trying to control those emotions, like through addictions, like ways of stuffing it down, staying busy, being a workaholic, whatever, is to let go of control. And what's the opposite of control? Is surrender. Surrender to the process. Don't put it off. Right? Don't put it off. Don't postpone it. This is 2025. 2027's coming faster. People are going to need the projectors. So whatever is down there that's coming up to the surface, there's ways you can work with the emotions. And I have meditations on my YouTube and my website that you can do that helps transmute this, to open the heart, right? That's the point, is to open up your heart. Right here, embrace your humanity and your compassion. Don't be reactive, right? We're going to see this out on the planet, people reacting to this turbulence and this fear of the unknown, right? So trying to control your energy. And remember, the 36 is very sexual, right? It's a sexual energy too. So not trying to stuff it down, just embrace it, let it in. Doesn't mean you need to act from it. But it's just you're embracing it, you're letting it in, you're accepting it, this energy, whatever it is. Not judging, right, as it being bad or shameful or whatever. And then the guidance is this 8 of Cups, which is interesting, eh? The 8 of Cups and the King of Cups. So to me, it's leaving this dynamic. I feel like with the projectors on my fractal line, maybe this is a dynamic for you, is trying to control your emotions. I'm a self-known Capricorn, so if there's self-known Capricorns on here, you know what I'm talking about. Or Capricorn moon, or Capricorn sun even rising too. Or Saturn, like a lot of heavy-duty Saturn in your chart. Maybe you can relate to this, about needing to control your emotions and letting that go, right? Capricorns don't like that vulnerability, feeling vulnerable. So this is letting go of this old dynamic, that's emotionally unfulfilling, right? Because you never let your heart open. Of course, it's not going to be emotionally fulfilling when you're stuffing and controlling your emotions, because it's building up. But what it wants to do, it wants to move to humanity and compassion. So leaving something behind. So to me, it's more of a dynamic, leaving a dynamic behind. Yeah. And it's Saturn in Pisces. Yeah. Rules the 8 of Cups. Right? Yeah. And there's Saturn. Saturn is already in Pisces in the gate of grace. Right? So not to dishonor yourself by controlling your emotions. You're not going to be able to do it anyway. It's going to become more and more powerful, or solar plexus and emotional body. But there you got the master of emotions, the king or queen, whatever you relate to, right? There's no gender in the tarot. So this is the balanced head and heart. It's a balanced head and heart. Yeah, devoted counselor. This could be you, if you relate to this archetype, the King or Queen of Cups. Compassionate. That's this, the humanity and compassion. So there's the magic, is to let go of this control. Let go of control. And I always bring it back to childhood, right? Maybe you did have to control your emotions in childhood. There was no room for you, right? But now you're going to let that go. That's part of your embracing turbulence, projectors. Because remember that you're needed as a guide, right? And so to be the best guide you can be as a projector is to really purify yourself, right? Okay, so there's the projectors. And then let's go for the manifestor. The manifestor type. So manifestors, we're talking about the north node in the 36 and the south node in the 6. And there's some questions for you to look at while I pull some cards for you. Let's see, manifestors. What is the ego for the manifestors? Oh, interesting. Okay. And then what do we got for the guidance for the manifestors? Okay, what's the guidance for the manifestors? Okay, the manifestors got the I'm stuck card and wear a mask. That's the advice of the ego, not my advice. So stay stuck, right? Stay stuck. So this is childhood. Childhood wounding again, a refusal to grow up, a refusal to move forward. And the 36 is about pressuring you to move forward in your evolution through experience, right? And so it brings up turbulence, and this is manifested as nervousness, right? And this is about going into the unknown, right? So it can bring up these stuck emotions for you. So right away, this says childhood. And then this is the wear the mask, right? So it's very similar to the manifesting generator reading that I did. So this is about not showing your true self, not revealing your passions, your dreams. Remember, this is making me think of Pluto that just moved in the 41st gate, which is about revealing your dreams, sharing your dreams with others, not moving past that fear of humiliation, right? So there's a fear of rejection if you've showed your true self, right? So the mask, you're going to do one of two things. You're either going to take that mask off. That means dissolving the not self, refusing to be a fake anymore. You can do that, or it will be ripped off your face by the universe, right? Because wearing masks will not be tolerated, will not be supported in the new cross of the sleeping phoenix, right? And then, okay, so we got that. So there can be some nervousness or some old emotions that need to be embraced, right? Not to run away from your emotional pain as a manifestor. And then this fear of vulnerability. And that would definitely be a big fear of the manifestor, or rejection, right? Fear of the manifestor, that my initiation will be rejected. And then the guidance is the Knight of Pentacles. And that's just like step by step. So maybe I feel so overwhelmed by this emotional work that I know that I have to do. Well, the Knight of Pentacles is the baby step card, right? I'm just going to make baby steps every day. I'm going to just, concentrate, be patient with myself, patience, and continually work at this of self-love. It's really self-love, right? You don't need to do it all in one day, and you can't anyway. It takes time to heal from childhood wounding. It's a spiral, right? How that healing works. It's a spiral, and you go down and you go up and then you go down again even deeper, right? And then the Lover's card. And the Lover's card could be seen as making a choice, right? As a manifestor. And you're a powerful type, right? So I'm going to choose to do this healing work, right? And it's about your relationships too. So it's also saying that, yes, you get humanity compassion, but it's really going to help in terms of your relationships as well, right? And working with people too. Partnerships, relationships, balance, bringing you more into unity too. So maybe you're feeling off balance in terms of your relationships. It could be like family relationships or relationships with business partners or your partner. Well, this is saying that you're out of balance here by wearing a mask, pretending you're someone you're not. So it's time to take off your mask and just reveal who you really are, right? And face those fears. So go check out your astrology too, and if you're a twin flame, and that will give you more information. Okay, we got 36 thumbs up. Okay, let's do the reflectors. So we're talking about the nodes of the moon reflectors. Okay, so be sure to check your astrology, and if you're a twin flame too, we're letting go of the 6, embracing the 36 for the reflectors. So you want to read these questions. This is a shadow of turbulence. So we're letting go of conflict, right? We're letting go of conflict, and we're moving towards this facing our own. This is inner work, right? Facing this turbulence, which is a sign. The nervousness, right? Turbulence is expressed as nervousness, and it's a sign that you've got some emotions that you have to accept, embrace, and then feel. And we all feel this, reflectors. You know this, reflectors are for the big crowds, right? Or small crowds. But this turbulence, right? This turbulence, and this is what comes up when we're facing the unknown. And so when we transmute that, we have the gift of humanity and compassion. Okay, so let me just pull some cards for the reflector. And see what the ego is telling the reflector. Okay. Okay, what's the card for the reflector? Oh. And then what's the guidance for the reflector? And what do we have for the reflector? What's the guidance for the reflector? What's the guidance for the reflector? Is that it? I think so. Okay. Okay, the reflector, what do they got? They got the nihilism card. The nihilism card, that's the Great Depression card. Right? The gray period of the planet. The cold depression. So this is depression. Here. Nihilism. And then you got the white knight card. So you may be waiting for somebody to save you. Reflectors. Waiting for a savior to save you. And that's not the way to go. That is not the way to go for the cross of the sleeping phoenix. Because this is about being whole unto yourself, knowing that you have everything inside you. And as soon as I see this, depression, I see anger, right? I forgot who got the anger card. Manifesting generator, you may want to watch that part too as well. And so anger is anger turned inward is depression. It's depression. But it can fool you because depression is like, I don't feel anything, because the anger is blocking you from feeling anything, right? It's turned inward on yourself. So this is either, it can work both ways, so where you're trying to save somebody who's depressed, or you're the one that's depressed and you're hoping that somebody will come and save you, right? So let's go to you as an individual. So this is you facing this turbulence, facing this depression head on. And you know, I've got a meditation for cold depression. I'm not sure if it's on my website. It's definitely on my website, the meditation for cold depression. But this will help you to move the energy, because it's about moving this energy. And so remember that the nervousness will come up, but you may be completely numb to it because of this cold depression. So I would suggest you got to sit with it. You got to sit with it first. You got to meditate, and then this energy will start to release for you. But you can't expect anyone to save you. Right now, we all have to save ourselves, be our own savior. I mean, we can help each other, right? Like on the video, I'm sharing information with you, but I can't save you, right? No, we can't. Nobody can save you. I can't save you. You can't save me, right? Okay. So the guidance is the Hierophant, which is the spiritual teacher. Okay. So it's about honoring your spiritual path. So what is your spiritual path? That's what I would ask. What is your spiritual path, Reflector? Like, what are you grooving on? What are you aligning yourself with? Like, what's your spiritual path? And this is like commitment. It's a commitment here. It's a commitment to your spiritual path. It can also indicate marriage to the Hierophant card. So maybe you're going through something with your spouse, right? It may be time to recommit to this, to your marriage, if that's correct for you. Or it could be about you going on a spiritual journey, like committing to your spiritual journey. And this is the thing, right? Is when we're in this state of depression and nihilism and feeling hopeless, as soon as a lot of this work is about being your authentic self. But what comes after that is your soul purpose. It's like committing to your soul purpose. Why am I on the planet? Why did I come down on the planet? What am I here to contribute? As soon as you start making baby steps towards that, then this energy starts to lift, right? So it could just really show you that you're really, really stuck, right? Yeah. And so I would go, what would I do with this? Well, it represents social groups, education too, but your beliefs, right? So look at those things. Just look at who's around you, right? Look at who are you surrounded by as a reflector. You've got to be really careful who you surround yourself with as a reflector. You want to be around the right people, because the timeline is splitting, right? Some are going this way and some are going this way. Some are going fear, right? And some are going love. So I would look at that too. You want to be around spiritually high vibe people as a reflector, because you're so affected by, the people in your life. Okay, everybody. That's what I got for everybody. Thank you. And what was I going to say? What was I going to say? I've been in this water element. It's been crazy raining here. Crazy stormy raining that my power was off all day. Okay, you know, I got recorded readings. You can follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube, which I post every day. I even posted it yesterday with my phone. And then the next online retreat is going to be in February. And the theme is going to be ancestral wounding. So I'll put that together. I've been really guided to do that one. And I'll have the dates. It's like the end of February. So I hope people can attend that because we're in for a ride for this year. 2025 is intense. And so we're already feeling it, right, with that Pluto in the 41. And then the node switching to crisis and conflict. But we're going to do fine, right? As long as you keep your eyes on the prize, which is your authenticity, right? And doing this emotional work, showing up as yourself in each and every moment. That's your job, to show up as yourself no matter what condition you're in, because the divine is like, we don't want you to be perfect, but we want you to be yourself. You have to be yourself, right? We're all a work in progress. Okay, so I will see you on Sunday. I'm putting my newsletter out, and then I've got my weekly reports too. So you want to sign up for my newsletter for that. Okay, Sat Nam Aloha, everybody. Take care, and I'll talk.